Hello, and thank you so much for checking out episode 2 of Promote the Hell Out of It. On this episode, I chat to the awesomely talented Sara Lucas, who is a street artist from Portugal living in London. And I would definitely recommend following along on her Instagram so that you can check out some of the street art we're talking about whilst the conversation is going on. And you can find that at Hello the Mushroom on Instagram. At Hello the Mushroom. And the link will be in the description below anyway. And if you can't check it out whilst listening to the episode, absolutely give it a check afterwards because her art is incredible. And we talk about a lot of the really cool collaborations she took part in last year, including something from Monty's bar in London, being involved in the book Cash is King, as well as some of the exhibits from that, a mural collaboration with DRT London, and a shitload of other useful information that can help you as a new street artist, that can get you to get over some of the fear involved in street art maybe, and can also help you have some advice into how to actually make these collaborations happen and how to get involved in the community. So yeah, definitely check out the conversation, and you'll hear from me afterwards. But before I actually just chuck you into the conversation I had with Sara, which we actually recorded whilst I was in Da Nang in Vietnam, which is really fitting because it's a city full of like reggae bars, graffiti, skate, bike culture. So that was really cool. But I did want to mention that one of the things I want on the show is to be introducing new music. Ideally every episode. Some episodes, obviously, I will be talking to musicians or bands, and I will be promoting their music on the episode. But when I am doing things like this, where I'm talking to street artists or to someone about politics or anything like that, I'd like to be introducing some new bands. So if you are in a band or you're a musician and you have some new music out, please send it over. The email will be in the description below. It would be great to hear from you. And hopefully from next episode onwards, there will be some new music every episode. So here's a conversation with the lovely Sara Lucas. So how are you, Sara? It's been a while.
It's been a while. Looking forward to seeing you soon in the UK, hopefully.
I know. We're excited. We've been traveling almost 6 months now, so
Wow,
it will be good to be back in the cold.
Yeah. Well, but that's incredible. You guys I've been following your adventures on Instagram and all, and it seems like you've been having a good time, or at least looking at beautiful things.
That's the thing. Yeah, we've been busy working whilst trying to travel.
Yeah.
Is hard work in
I
itself.
can imagine.
But I wouldn't
Yeah.
change it for the world.
Yeah.
It's very fulfilling, definitely.
Yeah, and I suppose it's one of those experiences that you will never forget in a lifetime anyway. So it's well worth it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think the thing we've learned from it the most is that it's a lot easier than we thought to start off with. I think it's very easy to think about traveling as this huge thing that you can only do if you're in a really perfect situation.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so much cheaper out here
Mm-hmm.
that you can actually save money whilst traveling as opposed to spending loads of money,
Paying rent,
which is ridiculous. Exactly, yeah. You're accomplishing your dreams and actually saving money, which seems absolutely crazy.
That's crazy.
So it's been good.
Maybe I should do that too.
I would highly recommend it. But you've been doing quite a bit of traveling for your art this year anyway, haven't you?
I've been hustling left and right.
Excellent. That's what we like to hear.
Exactly. So one tries.
Well, yeah, that's all we can do. That's the whole point of starting this podcast.
Exactly.
Is I think promoting your work or yourself as an artist isn't the easiest thing to do, but the more you put into it, the more you get out of it as well.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
So I think one of the things that stood out for me in the way that you work things is that collaboration is a huge part of what you do, not only in terms of the art that you create, because I know you collaborated on a piece for Monty's Bar recently, for example,
That's
yeah?
right, yeah, with Howl Owl, which is an artist from Switzerland. They make street art mostly, and that features a lot of rainbows, and also the main character is this little cute owl, and sometimes unicorns and everything. And I use a lot of rainbow colors and everything in my art as well. So I thought that it would be a match made in heaven, and and I messaged them a few months ago, and I was very pleased that they said yes. So this time they were visiting London, so it was a perfect opportunity to collaborate and do something, and it was very fortunate that I managed to get us a space to paint in that's more permanent rather than the street, thanks to Steve at Monty's Bar in Brick Lane. So
That's
that was really
amazing.
good, and it worked. In the end, I think the result was pretty good,
That's
and it
incredible.
was
Can
fun.
people still see
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
yeah?
yeah. It's still up. I mean, it's gonna be up for a few months at least. I mean, their artwork in the bar rotates frequently, but not that frequently. I mean, it will stay on for a
Excellent.
few months. So if anyone hearing this wants to go check it out, it's there.
And it's by Brick Lane, yeah, so it's a good area to go for a drink anyway.
That's right. Yeah, it's right next to the bagel shop, so it's not easy to miss. You can't miss
I
it.
mean, bagels, beer, and art.
Exactly.
How that you can't get any better than that. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. uh,
Do you get a lot of enjoyment out of collaborating with people? Do you think
yeah.
that it's the best way for producing new art and getting new ideas?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's the best way, because I have a lot of ideas, and I do a lot of things on my own
Yeah,
as
of course.
well. But I do get a lot of enjoyment, because most of the people that I've had, or all of the people, I mean, I don't think I've ever had a negative experience, to be honest. But the people that I normally end up collaborating with, it's because we have something in common that makes our pieces gel together in a good way. And um, and it's always the fact that I'm into it and they're into it as well, and they see what I see in their artwork, in mine as well, in
Absolutely.
terms of
Yeah.
potential for creating something in as a collaboration. So I mean, I've done some really good things this past year, and I am working on a collaboration as well, with someone else at the moment. I'm gonna leave it a mystery for now, because we're still
Perfect.
in the early stages, and this has the potential to be something a bit bigger than just creating a couple of pieces in like playing the piano with four hands.
Yeah.
This has the potential to become a big thing. So I'm gonna leave it for now. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but I can tell
That's
you that it's
fine.
something that I'm very, very excited about. And if it
Well, it means that everyone's got to follow you to find out about it, which is
exactly,
great.
exactly.
Ah,
um
that's really
yeah,
exciting.
yeah, definitely.
I think collaboration is been a big part of the heritage of art, of every type of art, for a
Yeah.
long time. I remember when I was young, reading about Bob Dylan, and one of
Mm-hmm.
the things that stood out to me was not the things he released, but when he just used to collaborate with a load of artists and just hit record and see what would happen, because
Yeah.
the ideas you get from working with other people are generally just different to what you'd create on your own.
Yeah, exactly. It's yeah, like for example, this collaboration I was talking about, basically what happened was that I was looking at this artist's Instagram, and we participated in the same show recently, and I was looking at her Instagram, and I felt very inspired, and I messaged her and said, "Do you mind if I do a few things inspired by what you're doing?" And she loved the idea, and she ran away with it, because she was then I'm gonna do the things that you're inspired about, also inspired by your art. So it kind of like, I put on planted a little seed, and this is just like growing and growing, and it was really rewarding to see that she was into
That's so
it as
good.
much as I was.
It's the best feeling.
Yeah,
It's the best
yeah.
feeling. The producer I use, the guy who helps record my band,
Mhm.
Bob Cooper.
Mm.
The last record we did, I did it differently, and as opposed to having a band, I just got lots of different people to help,
Mhm.
and he was really involved in it. And seeing people actually get excited and want to get involved and have ideas of their own is such an incredible feeling.
Yeah, that's
It's
right.
really
That's
nice.
right. That's right. I completely agree with that. It's very rewarding.
One of One of the collaborations you did that really stood out to me was the mural you did with, was it with DRT?
uh,
DRT
oh
London? Is
yes, that's right. In Hackney Wick. Yes.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
looked incredible. Is it quite a different experience doing something on a wall, for example, than when you're working, say, at home on a piece of paper or
Oh,
doing a collage?
absolutely, absolutely. I think it's a lot more challenging, of course, not only because of the scale, but the thing is, especially if I'm doing a collaboration, is I'm unlike people who work with mostly with like spray paint or anything. I can't just rock up with something and just whip something up. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
I work with
yeah,
printed paper that needs to be painted. That there's a lot of preparation involved, so that can be a little bit limiting sometimes. Like I've been asked sometimes to do collaborative murals and everything, and sometimes I have to say no because I don't have the time to get the prints done or anything. I mean, it's
of
not something
course.
I can, unless I have some prints lying around that might be adaptable, but that's usually not so much the case. But it's not something that you can say to me in the morning, oh, this afternoon do you want to come out and do something, it's a bit,
Yeah,
it's a bit restricting in that sense. But so far the few things that I've done have worked out well. I mean, sometimes there's that limitation of the size of the paper and this and that, but I think we've managed to turn it around and make it look um, good, make it look like it's
yeah,
meant to be.
that's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, it looked great. It looked great.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things I was going to ask you
Mm.
is if you were giving advice to someone that maybe wants to get into street art. I know that people sometimes get a bit worried about how to go about it. Do you think it's a case of just jumping in, or would you have some advice you'd give people?
Well, I mean, I think it's just a case of jumping in, really, because I've said this before. I've always liked street art and had that thing, but you always feel like an outsider looking in sometimes, and you want
Yeah,
to do something, but you're not. Oh, I don't know anyone. How's it gonna be? Blah 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 blah. And really, that's not even a thing, to be honest, because the street is there. It's for everyone. You just have to be careful not to be caught. You can get fined. But other than that, you just have to be careful to not go over other people's work, because that's rude.
yeah, of course.
But other than that, just knock yourself out. Just do what you want to do. It's just And the thing is, once you might not know anyone, but once you start doing it, you will definitely start forming your own community, or getting to a community of artists and everything. So if you want to get into that kind of world, everyone is super nice and welcoming. So um just do it. Just do it.
Amazing. Yeah, I think that's the thing, that I had the same feeling about starting playing in a
Mm,
band, because it's very different going from picking up a guitar to actually going
yeah.
on stage. Obviously, you're not worried about getting caught
No.
on stage unless you're really bad, maybe then you are. Or if you've got too many songs about ex-girlfriends or something like that, then maybe you're worried
Yeah.
about getting caught. But generally, it's not too bad. But jumping in is the
Yeah.
best case. And I think that a lot of us are brought up with this idea that we need to conform, that we need to be afraid of the police, that we need to do everything
Yeah.
right. And it's not really the
No.
case. I think that you need to find your own ground and make your own
Yeah.
opinions about these things, because the world would be so boring if there wasn't any street art.
Exactly.
It's my favorite thing about going to a new city.
Exactly. I would even say as well, about this, that it's it's very easy to just get into it. It's just, and don't be afraid to not fit in or do something different. I mean, not everyone has to do stencil art, or and try
Of
to be
course, yeah.
a new Banksy or whatever. Just do whatever you want for your enjoyment, and that's it.
You mentioned that when you did some of your collaborations, you reached out to people that you liked. Would you recommend that that's an approach that people should be taking in order to start
Yeah, yeah.
collaborations? Because I think there's a tendency to just wait around for things to
Oh,
fall in your
that's
lap,
the
isn't
worst.
there?
That's the worst approach, to be honest. Because
Absolutely, yeah.
if you want something, you have to go out and get it. You can't just sit in your room waiting to be discovered. So you have to always be out there. Putting stuff out on the street, which I don't do enough these days because of other limitations. But
Of
you
course,
have to
yeah.
be out there on the street. You have to be putting your stuff out on social media. You have to talk to people, go to shows. There's always and there's always like open calls for artists here and there for this or that exhibition or a magazine or whatever, which is what I've been doing. Basically, I've participated in a lot of printed projects. These have been unpaid, but at the same time, it's been quite rewarding to see my work on print, and to be part of
Of course,
someone's
yeah.
vision and an idea. Where was I going with this? I was going somewhere. Oh, yeah, but you have to put yourself out there, really. And the same thing with the collaborations. I mean, a lot of the people that I've collaborated with, there's been some sort of relationship that was previously built uh, before jumping into collaborating. Whether it's just that we follow each other on Instagram and we like each other's work, something like that. This is probably the simplest thing, to the point of meeting in an exhibition and then having a chat and deciding that, yeah, this is a great idea, we should do something about it. I mean, there's always, but I would say the best thing is to create a. If you want to collaborate with someone, build a relationship with that person first, because everyone's time is limited, and especially if you're asking an artist that is a bit more popular than you are. You have to be mindful of their time and what then they want, and so you can't just expect people to stop everything they're doing to do something with you. So it's good to build a relationship before that. And and in my case, it's never been a case of like, oh, I'm gonna start talking to this person because I want to do a collaboration. Of course not. It's more like, I've been following their work and I really like it, and then one day I wake up and I'm looking at it and I have an idea, and then I'll be messaging them. But I find that having had that previous connection really helps in people being open to listening to these ideas.
It comes
So
across as more genuine. It comes
yeah,
across like
because
you
it is.
actually care. Yeah, I mean,
Because it
exactly.
is.
Yeah, yeah. You talked about community, and I think that's the
Yeah,
thing. If you're already part of a community without asking anything from anyone else,
yeah,
when you do
yeah.
want to start doing something, they know that you're genuine about what you're doing. So that's
Yeah,
great.
exactly. And I think that that was something that I really had proof that it exists when I organized this show back in May. I organized the show in a bar here in London, in Hoxton. And it was the theme was the royal, because of the royal wedding. I called it Tat, because of the
Yeah.
royal tat and all the
Yeah.
tacky stuff. And
Amazing.
it was really proof that that is completely true, is because look at me. I mean, I'm not Banksy or anything like that, but I had that idea and I started contacting people, if they were willing to participate in this show. And I had amazing responses from a lot of artists, some of them even people who are busier than I am, and all that. So that was a major demonstration of support from the whole community. And when we opened the show, a lot of people came, and other artists and everything, and that was amazing. I was really happy, and felt that warm feeling in my heart. I was like, oh, this was so nice. I'm doing something right. I'm not just waiting
Yeah.
mine and everyone's time. And it was funny because in the end the show ended up being mentioned in a couple of German publications, because for some reason there was nobody else doing anything that was like this at the time. I think that most people were a bit conformed about the wedding, and nobody remembered to do any art that wasn't necessarily something to go on tea towels, because everyone's just so gushy about the wedding. I mean, not all of the pieces in the show were protests, or with a negative view or anything, but there I thought I would give some artists the space to show their disapproval of the
Which,
whole
yeah, that's
thing.
my favorite part of it. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
my favorite part.
Yeah, and it was funny because nobody else was doing it. I thought that was absolutely unbelievable. It's like, come on, this is the country that made built punk. What is
Yeah,
happening?
exactly,
Everyone is so
exactly.
conformed. What's going on? But
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and that's why, funnily enough, I became like, I was interviewed a couple of times and everything, and to the German public, apparently I became the face of non-conformity about the royal wedding,
Amazing. Well, that's
which was
perfect.
which was definitely not what I set out to do, but but it was
Well, I love
super
it. I love
funny.
it.
I was like, okay, I'll take it. It was quite funny. It really was. But yeah, yeah. But there you go. It's just like my idea when I organized that show was that I've participated in other shows that other people organize, and I thought, okay, I want to do something and give something back. People have
Yeah.
been working and creating opportunities to do things, and it's my turn to do that. And it
That's
worked out
perfect.
really
Keeping that
well.
community going. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I've been talking to a few artists now to do a show, like a little show, in Monty's, next year. Not sure of the date yet. I've been thinking about around Easter time. I've just been trying to figure out things because of this whole Brexit nonsense. But and the reason is because I was thinking and had interest about this to do a show here in London for German street artists. Because I know a few, I've met a few over the years, and I think that it would be a fun idea and something a little bit different.
Absolutely. That's
um
amazing.
so that's something that should be happening next year, Brexit permitting.
Well, yeah, I mean
uh
the Brexit situation is ridiculous, and obviously
no.
it affects people like yourself and
Yeah.
touring bands and
Yeah,
anyone like that.
everyone,
Well, we
everyone.
don't even know how it affects.
No.
But that's the problem. That is just a constant worry
Yeah,
for people right now because they
yeah.
don't know what's going
I
on.
mean, last week there was an article going around with the government are advising people not to travel after March. And
Oh my goodness.
and when the government is actually telling people this, I mean, this is gonna be chaos,
Of
I'm
course,
like,
yeah,
I'm
of
not gonna
course.
go anywhere for I don't know how long, because I'm afraid I'm not gonna be able to come back in, you know.
Yeah, yeah. No, I said the same. I said we should probably aim to be back before the end of March from
Yeah,
traveling,
yeah,
just in case, as a Spanish person with a
yeah,
Spanish passport, they're like,
yeah.
"Get the fuck out of here. We don't want you here."
Yeah, exactly. It's just nonsense. I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
see what
And you
happens.
try and laugh it off, but it's actually quite
Oh,
scary.
yes, it is. Definitely.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Well, talking about non-conformity, which we've kind of touched on,
Mm-hmm.
I loved the fact that you were part of the book that Carrie and Bob Osborne put together, Cash is King,
Yeah,
Defacing Banknotes.
yeah.
How was that experience?
Oh,
Because that is exactly the kind of art that I love. I think it's a great idea.
oh, that was an amazing experience. And again, is proof that if you want to do something, you ask, and you might just get it. Because that's exactly
Yeah.
what happened. I saw some people posted, people I follow on Instagram, and this was before I even met Bob or Carrie. I mean, I met Carrie. I had met Carrie at an event before, but I followed her, but I didn't know about Bob. And I saw someone posting on Instagram. Oh, I just made this note for Bob Osborne. Blah blah blah. And I saw a couple of people. I was like, "Oh, what is this? This sounds interesting." So I looked at his Instagram, and I really liked his work. He has a lot of stuff in common with mine. Mainly the saucy pictures that are being used. But it has that, and I really liked it and really resonated with me. And I just dropped him a message. It's like, hey, I've seen some people have been doing this. Can I play too? And he looked at my stuff, and he said, yeah, fine, absolutely, just do it. So I did it, and it was amazing how it turned out. I was very proud to be part of this amazing project that Carrie Reichardt and Bob Osborne put together. I think it's just an amazing idea, and what they are doing with it is just that it's going from strength to strength, and again, it's like one of these things that you start with a little idea, and then it starts growing and growing exponentially, in the beginning, when I sent him the initial two pieces that I made for it. It was pretty funny because it's like, oh, we might be doing an exhibition at some point, la la la. And then we ended up the exhibition ended up being at Saatchi Gallery. It's like you can't. It doesn't get any
That's
better than
amazing.
that.
No, absolutely,
And it was
absolutely.
just like, and now, just recently, there was a pop-up show in a gallery in Paris with some of the notes. I know that at least one of them that I made after the ones that were in the book are going to be showing there. Artists are defacing dust jackets as well. Those are being made. I'm in the process of finishing mine, which I should in the next couple of weeks. um, and it's just been super interesting. Like I think it was last week that Bob posted on his Instagram that the book has been purchased by the British Museum for their collection.
Oh
So
wow, that's amazing.
I was like, wow. I mean, it's like one of those things. It's one of those things that you think, okay, when I die, this book will be in the British Museum and we might be seen by future generations. I don't think
That's
anyone will really
incredible.
care, but it's gonna be there anyway.
Of course, it's there, it's there, and I'm sure there'll be someone scrolling through it hundreds of years from now who
Yeah.
takes something out of that art and is
Yeah,
inspired to create something new, and
exactly.
that's the dream.
Exactly.
Absolutely,
It was probably one of the most interesting things I've been involved with this year. That really, yeah, and that really gave me a lot of happiness to have been part of it and not miss that opportunity.
of course. And it just goes to show, as we were saying before, the importance of just putting yourself out there and
Exactly.
messaging people. I think
Absolutely.
it's very easy to be afraid of the reaction or of rejection when you go
Rejection.
to send a message. Yeah,
Yeah.
one of the books I read recently, which helped us go traveling and helped us kind of change our perspective on what we were doing, was by Tim Ferriss, The 4 Hour Work Week. And one of the things he mentions is of making lists of the dream people you would get in contact with
Mm,
and just sending them a message, because you never know how they're going to
yeah.
react. And you
Exactly.
don't have to you don't have to ask anything of them. You can maybe ask them a quick question that takes them a few seconds to reply, and
Exactly.
you've started a conversation.
Yeah.
And it's so important how things like that can work out.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, it's just it's very, you just have to be open as well,
Yeah,
and not be afraid of rejection and not take it personally as well, because like I said,
of
sometimes people
course.
are just busy, or they might not really like your artwork, and that's fine. I'm perfectly aware that what I do is not to everyone's taste, particularly when I do those more raunchy
Saucy
pieces. Yeah.
images. Yeah.
I mean, some people find it a bit like woo, especially the gay ones. Some people can, you know, might shock them a little bit. But and I understand that it's fair. It's fair enough.
That's the
Um,
thing. I don't think that we're supposed to like everything that
yeah,
an artist does. And
I don't even.
Scroobius Pip did a tweet recently,
Yeah,
and he was like, I don't expect people to listen to every single podcast I release,
yeah,
because that would be silly. You're not going to like
yeah.
every single podcast I release.
And
It's
the thing
absolutely
is,
fine.
and the
You're
thing
allowed to not
is,
like something.
yeah, and to be honest, Miss, I don't even myself don't like everything I do.
Yeah, I
you
mean,
know,
there's songs I've recorded I hate now. Yeah,
yeah, you
absolutely.
know what I mean. It's like, some things I do is like, oh, it seemed like a good idea at the time, but the execution wasn't as I expected it to be. So I was like, meh. But that's the thing. You can't be afraid of failure. You have to just keep going. And
Every step
yeah.
teaches you something else.
Exactly, exactly.
Absolutely.
Nothing is ever a waste of time. Even bad relationships.
Yeah,
You always
yeah. You
learn
you've got to
something.
learn. Take what you can learn from it. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Which is basically the basis of my breakup series that I started doing on the street. The piece that you mentioned earlier, the collaboration with DRT. one of
Yeah.
them. I just put one up this week. Hopefully it's
Oh,
still there.
amazing.
I need to actually share it on Instagram. But the third piece in that series is now on the around Brick Lane as well. So that's fun. But yeah,
Well, for anyone listening, they've got to go check out your Instagram to
exactly.
see it, because that will really speak for itself.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's the thing, like take in everything and learn from it. And if you're an artist, turn it into art. I mean, I personally I find it a lot more rewarding to dig into the pool of ideas and feelings and everything of things that I've seen and experienced and everything than to just merely go around painting pretty pictures. um
No, the range of emotions is what's important
yeah,
in art,
yeah,
and I think a lot of the greatest artists do take inspiration from some of the worst parts of their lives, some of the worst things that have
yeah,
happened, because otherwise it's just a bad
yeah,
experience and
exactly,
you haven't gained anything from
exactly,
it.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. It's a bit of a cliche, the tortured artist and everything, but at the same time, it does happen a lot, and all these things are really can become inspiration. I mean, we just have to be careful not to be get it caught into a cycle of just making bad decisions so we can have
Create
create
art,
art.
yeah.
We have to help
I can
ourselves as
definitely
well,
relate to that, yeah.
but we always have problems and things that trouble us. So I find that art is has been a big thing in helping me as well cope with those things. So yeah, art can be therapeutic too.
Yeah, imagine how boring songs and art would be if everyone was happy all the time. I just
Yeah,
I can't
exactly.
picture. I think it would be the most monotonous thing ever. Like just singing about being happy in a relationship and singing about how great your day's been doesn't sound that good to me.
Well, the thing is, you need the low points to be able to appreciate the high points.
There, yeah, exactly.
Uh,
That's exactly it.
so, and also remember that just because you're in the low point doesn't mean you won't be on a high point again. Nothing lasts forever, and not even the bad moments. So,
Yeah,
I
and
keep saying this to myself.
for sure. And even the process of creating art, as you said, is therapeutic. So it can actually help you get out of that low point just by putting it
Oh
out there.
yeah,
It's cathartic.
definitely, definitely. I've done recently a talk on how going back into doing art really helped me cope with the fact that I had cancer and that my life was completely turned upside down after that. And yeah, and it was just I had spent so many years without painting or anything, and it just made me go back to painting and finding a new meaning to what I'm doing with my time.
Of course, yeah. Is that
And it's become
yeah, is that how I
yeah,
found
yeah,
my voice? Was that the part
yeah,
with
yeah, yeah.
Art
That's
Lab?
correct. Yeah,
That's
that's right.
great.
Yeah,
Are you
yeah,
doing some
that's
more of those,
correct.
or was it a one-off?
Well, for the time being, it was a one-off. I'm gonna do an event in January, but that's more of a corporate event, and I'll be
Okay, yeah.
speaking to a corporate audience about creativity and harnessing creativity in the corporate environment and how that can help actually people be happier in their work and also and and how that is beneficial as well for businesses, because people are happier and they get better ideas. You know
Yeah,
it's
amazing.
yeah, it's something that I did one similar event recently. I'm going to be doing another one in January. So I'm finding this. I find it funny how these things happen. It's like all of a sudden I've been asked to run a workshop in a museum, do a talk about myself, run those events, those do those conferences and everything, and I'm like, wow, this fell into my lap. I don't know how, but I'm
You've
enjoying
worked
it.
very hard for it. You've worked very hard
Yeah.
for it, and it's paying off, and it's great to see. It's a
Yeah,
huge
definitely.
inspiration, Sarah.
Oh,
Absolutely.
thank you. Thank you. I sometimes have trouble seeing that myself because I sometimes I'm can be not my best friend sometimes,
Of
but
course,
I
yeah.
think that's a very normal thing, especially for artists. We're never happy with what we do.
No, of course. But what you're putting out to other people is incredible, and you're
Oh,
motivating
thank
people to
you.
do something, and that's great. And bringing
Yeah,
joy through
yeah,
your art, which is also
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. I hope so.
Absolutely.
or at least if not joy, at least making them think about something.
Well, yeah, yeah. It
you
doesn't have to
know
be joy in the sense of I'm feeling great and happy, but joy
yeah, but
in some kind of sense.
raising questions,
Yeah,
raising
exactly.
questions and making people examine their thoughts about what they're looking at,
Yeah,
which is all you can ask from people who look at your art, is to for them to actually look at it and take something from it. And if they do, I mean, that's what makes me happy.
that's perfect.
That,
That's
and if they
perfect,
want to
Sarah.
take it home, because I need to pay
Of
my
course.
rent as well.
Of course, yeah. That's the thing. So everyone listening, go buy Sarah's art, please, because she needs to pay
Yes.
her rent.
I'm a starving artist, damn it. But you know what I mean. It's just you really have to do that. I have to do the art stuff to be happy. And if it brings something to other people, that makes me super happy as well. I found that actually I'm going to a different part of the subject, but I found this very funny quote the other day that it was so true. It says something like an artist is a person who is torn between the desire to be seen and the desire to hide away,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
and it's entirely true. I feel like that sometimes. It's like sometimes I just want to be in my cave drawing and not having to talk to anyone and everything, but at the same time it's like, oh, I want to show my stuff to people. But it's the balance between these two impulses that
It's so tricky. It's so tricky, and that's
yeah,
part of the
yeah.
reason I wanted to start this podcast is because when you want to create any type of art, regardless of what you're doing, you want to really be spending your time doing that. But the
Yeah.
society we live in, especially with social media, means that you have to spend
Oh yeah.
so much time promoting yourself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes that's the
Yeah. Yeah.
last
Yeah.
thing you want to do. Like me personally,
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
silly talking about myself. I'm like, can't someone else talk about what I'm doing? Let someone else talk about.
Exactly.
But then no one will hear what you're
Exactly.
doing. So
Yeah, exactly. And and I'm fortunate in the sense that I have a background in social media because I've worked in the marketing before. So I know a few little things, and that's helped me grow my Instagram account and and everything. But at the same time, that's not really what I want to spend my time doing.
of course,
It's
and it's
like
a
you
double-edged sword
say, yeah,
because
yeah,
you're
it
tired
is,
from
it
doing
is.
social media. The last thing you want to do after working
Yeah,
for someone else is
yeah,
do your own
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, exactly. And it's complicated. It's never easy. And the thing is, it's very rare that you can, as an artist, you know live off your art. I certainly can't. I have to do other work apart from this. um but it's a bit frustrating when you have to go on and spend all your time when you have so many ideas that you want to put out,
Yeah.
but you have to spend time going on Instagram, and it just becomes tiresome.
Yeah.
It
No,
really
definitely.
becomes tiresome. Sometimes you need time to go away, sort of go away, and work on your ideas without interruption or background noise, and because so you need that silence sometimes to have some clarity. But the way that the things are geared these days is like it's very difficult to have that time to think, that
Of
time to
course.
meditate on thing and ponder on what you're doing, and solving those problems, my problems, I mean, solving those questions that you want to put out with your art, with you want to work on your ideas. And I find that a little bit frustrating because I'm one of those people that I can be at once quite social and happy and bubbly, but at the same time I also like having my own space and being
Yep.
by myself. So I find it really hard sometimes that it's you keep getting pushed in all different directions all the time, and I think that also a city like London is the same thing. You keep getting pushed around. You go to this event, do this, do that, and sometimes I have to say no because I need time to rest because of my health, and
Yeah.
also because I need time to stay home and maybe play around with my pens for a while and do
Yeah.
some new work, because you have to work to make it to pay your bills, and then you have to do your artwork as well, and doesn't leave a lot of time for socializing these days, which is unfortunate. But it's it is what
Yeah.
it is.
Even finding time to think about what's going
Exactly.
on in your
Yeah.
life, to meditate on it. I was chatting to a Rastafarian a while ago, and he
Hmm.
was telling me that that's a big part of their beliefs, is that
Yeah.
they really like to consider everything they do and the
Yeah.
actions it has, and we don't have time to do that in
No.
society these days,
No. No.
especially
No.
in a
No.
city like London,
No.
and it's so
No.
difficult, and it is important to put in.
Yeah, definitely. That's one of the things that frustrates me the most about living here, is that um you really have to be rushing around all the time, and it
Yeah.
can be exhausting. And I don't see that being helpful in any way to
No,
my art
that's why we
practice,
moved. That's why we moved. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and it's tricky because obviously London's a great place for being an artist, and
Oh,
there's
yeah,
so much stuff going on. But you almost
absolutely.
feel like you're missing out if you can't do everything,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and it starts to burn you out, and you haven't got time
yeah,
to do as much art,
yeah.
and it's
Yeah,
tricky.
I've started to learn how to say no, and I spend a lot of time at home these days. Also because I'm constantly broke, being the starving artist that I
Yeah,
am. But
yeah,
but
I can relate to
also,
that absolutely.
yeah, exactly. So but I've had to start saying no a lot of times, and sometimes it's because I'm not feeling well. I don't have the energy to go out and everything. Other times it's because I really just can't afford to go out and spend £50 drinking,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
also because I know that if I go out, even if I don't spend that much money, I'll end up, someone will buy me a drink and someone will buy me another drink, and then the next day I'm gonna be hungover and not gonna be able to achieve anything. So
yeah,
but it's like you said, at the same time, I've been able to do things just for the fact that I'm here in London, in part of a city that where things actually happen, that I don't think I would have been able to do back in my hometown in Lisbon, for example. you
Yeah.
know. So it's complicated, you know.
Yeah.
I think that a few artists have managed to go away and continue having a career here because they've established themselves enough so that they can, you know, they come to London regularly without having to live here, and still participate in exhibitions and do interesting things. But and that's the dream, really. For me,
Absolutely. Yeah, I can
anyway.
imagine. Yeah, for sure.
That's what,
For sure.
one day. But
I'm sure it will happen. I'm sure
yeah,
it will
we'll
happen. You're
see.
you're creating
Yeah.
incredible things, and
Well,
you're so
thank you.
busy, and you've got so much stuff coming up. So
Thank
I'm
you.
sure it will get there. I
Thank
have
you.
complete faith in it.
Ah, thank you.
So for anyone listening, it's Hello the Mushroom
That's
where they
right.
can find
That's
your
right.
stuff.
Yeah, that's
Yep, excellent.
correct.
I will link to everything anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But absolutely check Sarah out on Instagram because you can see some incredible things.
Thank you.
And you've also got your blog up,
Yeah.
website, blog.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
check that out too.
Well, yeah, the blog is just silly nonsense. I don't really use it so much these days. I've been meaning to get around and switch over the website into from a blog to a more of a portfolio, but again, that that takes time and effort.
Time. Yeah.
And you know, my to-do list is like the length of my arm, and there's always something that crops up that is more urgent, you know. So,
Of course.
you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
one day.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
We can't get to everything at the same
No,
time,
no.
and I'd rather see more out from you than any website. So
Yeah, exactly. So Instagram for the time being until we find a better platform. Just saying.
perfect.
So Instagram will be the best way to find more recent work, links to the shop, you know, anything, and if you even ask me questions if you feel like it.
Perfect. Thank you so much for chatting to me today, Sarah. It's
No
absolutely great getting to
problem.
catch up.
Thank you
And hopefully
for
we can
inviting
catch.
me.
No, of course, it's a pleasure. And hopefully we can catch up face to face in the new year.
Absolutely. Just keep me posted
I
on how
look
that
forward to it.
goes.
Of course, of course. We'll know within the next month what we're doing and where we'll be. So it's coming up quickly.
Okay, cool. I look forward to that then.
Perfect.
All right.
Thanks,
Take
Sarah.
care. Bye. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. I love chatting to Sarah. She's a great friend, a great artist, and I'm sure she'll be doing some incredible stuff. So please, 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 if you haven't already, go over to her Instagram at Hello the Mushroom and check out the awesome work she's doing. And also, if you could help us out by leaving us a review, subscribing to the podcast, we've got some incredible podcasts lined up. The next one is with the incredible Kelly Kemp. It's a conversation I absolutely loved having, and we go into some really good topics. So please keep an eye out for that. And yeah, thanks a lot, and catch you next time.